Chicago Democratic congressional candidate Kat Abughazaleh recently pleaded not guilty to felony charges of conspiring to impede a federal officer, stemming from an incident during a September protest outside a Broadview, Illinois Immigration and Customs Enforcement (ICE) facility. The charges link Abughazaleh and 5 co-defendants, including other local Democratic officials, to the obstruction of a federal agent's vehicle attempting to enter the facility. This case is not simply a matter of alleged civil disobedience. It is a high-stakes clash between the Trump administration's aggressive immigration enforcement, dubbed Operation Midway Blitz, and a local political movement championing sanctuary and civil liberties. Abughazaleh, a progressive candidate for Illinois' 9th Congressional District, has framed the indictment as a political prosecution, a deliberate attempt by the federal government to criminalize protest and punish those who dare to speak up against the controversial raids. This defensive stance immediately elevates the case from a local legal matter to a national referendum on the right to protest and the limits of executive power. Reasons for the confrontation and charges. The root cause of this conflict lies in the nature and scale of Operation Midway Blitz. The federal operation was designed to target undocumented immigrants in the Chicago area, a region designated as a sanctuary. The aggressive tactics employed by federal agents, including using Black Hawk helicopters, rappelling into residential buildings, using tear gas and pepper balls on protesters, and collateral arrests of non-criminal individuals, created an atmosphere of intense fear and resistance within the community. Reasons for the protest. The demonstrations at the Broadview ICE facility were a direct, visceral response to these tactics. Protesters, including Abughazaleh, saw the raids as an attack on their community and a violation of human rights. Their goal was to physically disrupt the enforcement activities, reflecting a desperate attempt to protect neighbors and push back against what they described as a dissent toward authoritarianism. Abughazaleh's public statements highlight a deep belief that her actions were necessary for exercising First Amendment rights in defense of vulnerable populations. Reasons for the charges. Federal prosecutors, however, view the action as criminal obstruction. The indictment alleges that the group surrounded the federal vehicle, banged on it, and intentionally prevented the agent from performing their duties. The charges, conspiracy to impede an officer, carry significant weight and suggest that the Department of Justice, DOJ, aims to deter future physical resistance to federal operations. From the government's perspective, the actions cross the line from protected protest into illegal conduct involving force and intimidation, a stance bolstered by the alleged damage to the vehicle. The indictment landed days after White House officials reportedly threatened action against those attempting to hold federal agents accountable, lending credence to the political prosecution claim. Consequences and ramifications. The indictment carries immense consequences for Abughazaleh, the Democratic primary race, and the national discourse. 1. Campaign impact. The charges have made Abughazaleh a lightning rod for national attention. While facing potential legal liability, which could include years in prison and substantial fines, the publicity has significantly amplified her progressive platform and her profile as a frontline fighter against the Trump administration. This notoriety is a double-edged sword. It likely boosts grassroots fundraising and energized support from the anti-ICE movement, but simultaneously provides political ammunition for her primary opponents and future Republican rivals, who can paint her as radical or anti-law enforcement. 2. Legal precedent. The outcome of this trial could establish a critical legal precedent regarding the boundaries of protest and the enforcement powers of federal agencies in sanctuary jurisdictions. A conviction would be a powerful tool for the federal government to suppress similar direct action protests in the future, chilling dissent. An acquittal, conversely, would be a major victory for civil liberties advocates. 3. Political polarization. The case further deepens the ideological chasm between state-local Democratic strongholds, like Chicago, and the federal executive branch under the Trump administration. It forces local candidates to take an unequivocal stand on immigration enforcement, intensifying polarization within the Democratic primary and the general election cycle. Prediction and potential solutions. Prediction. The legal battle is predicted to be protracted and highly publicized, turning into a media spectacle that will dominate the Illinois 9th District primary race. Given the political nature of the indictment, the defense will focus heavily on First Amendment protections, while the prosecution will rely on physical evidence of obstruction and alleged property damage. Even if the prosecution secures a conviction, the likelihood of a lengthy appeals process is high. Politically, Abughazaleh's visibility is secured for the near future, regardless of the ultimate verdict, ensuring that the issue of aggressive immigration enforcement remains central to the Chicago political landscape. Solutions and moving forward. Addressing the core tensions revealed by this case requires both immediate de-escalation and long-term policy reform. 1. Establish clear protest and enforcement guidelines. Local and federal authorities must work with civil rights groups to create legally defined and mutually respected zones for protest outside federal facilities, coupled with clear rules of engagement for federal agents that prohibit the use of excessive force or military-grade tactics against peaceful demonstrators. 2. Immigration policy reform. Ultimately, the intensity of these clashes stems from a deeply divisive and punitive national immigration policy. Comprehensive federal reform is the only long-term solution to reduce the need for controversial mass arrest operations like Midway Blitz and alleviate the pressures on sanctuary cities. 3. Judicial clarity on dissent. The courts must use this case to clearly define the line between protected physical protest, direct action, and criminal obstruction, ensuring that citizens' rights to dissent are preserved without endangering law enforcement personnel. The political prosecution defense demands judicial scrutiny to protect the democratic process from undue executive influence.